Sleek Hobbies 88. Just kind of want to do a shout out. Appreciate our RC review. He had given me a good input, and I want to do this for you guys as customers out there buying these vehicles. I'm going to start off with this one, and as time goes on, I will go through each individual vehicle that I have and what the pros and cons are. So as you can see right here at the table, we have the Kuju EXT. Now this model had come out, I think roughly about 2 years ago. Honestly, Red Cat, they nailed it for what they were going with. The option, it's in between Basher. It's honestly, it's pretty similar in certain ways. The MT8, and I'll show you as I go along with it. But first off, we have the RCR2CE controller. Their basic controller from Red Cat. Nothing too fancy. Just basically, your toggles, your steering trim, your throttle trim, dual rate, and then your normal and high, or normal and reverse range. You got your binding button right here, and your throttle in normal and reverse mode. So this is the controller in its glory. Pretty much a lot of the Red Cats are coming with this. I don't know if the recent one, but I know the Machete, and I have that, and I'll talk more about that when I. So the first thing I want to get involved on or nail on is these tires. Honestly, awesome. The only thing I don't like about these tires, and this is just my opinion, is I felt like they could put more tread on it. The belted, that's where they nailed it at. It's a belted tire. They definitely nailed it with that. It's got a nice feel. It's actually really soft and impact, and it doesn't balloon as easy. But like I said, the treading, you're dealing with a truck that is, in my opinion, dirt and strictly, bashing. I would prefer these as more like, these are fun on the road, but as soon as I get into like wet surfaces or loose dirt, it's all over the place. So, but other than the fact that it is belted, you got to understand, tread does matter. So the old Kaiju tires was the way to go, but they weren't belted. They had the knobs on them, the non-EXT version. So that was the only little downfall with these tires. Other than that, they're not too bad. Let's see, body. Body is actually surprising. When I saw it in the video or in the photos and video, I was like, it kind of looks weird. You know what I mean? It looks almost like a car in the front slash like I didn't, But when you actually see this body in person, it's actually not that bad. And yeah, there's my scuffs. Not too bad, right? Actually, the crazy story about this truck is I just got it. My wife's out there with me, and we're ripping it in the street. And this thing actually went under a person's car. The braking was at it was set really low. Went to go brake and it would not stop. It had to have been at 15-20%. So definitely had to redo the settings on this. So that's a must. Definitely go over your ESC and see what the settings are tuned at. Went right under there. But what else is the body? So the body's not too bad. It holds up pretty good. It does have the airflow, which I do like that. Allows that to, in the summertime, to let some air come into the the ESC and allow some transfer. Keep it cool. The wing now is actually really cool. It's got a lot of flex to it. You know what I mean? Like I literally in the cold had this out not too long ago, and I'll tell you the weakness that I noticed with the car. And I just replaced it actually today with the parts. But the wing was really sturdy on this. The body's not too bad. But the one thing that there was issues with, and I believe this was a revamp, was this hinge pin right here that goes right across to the top of the control arm. I just replaced this today. Now this one is definitely different from the inside in. It goes further in, and it's thicker. So I ended up just doing it on both sides. Get it done, do it the right way. The backs were issues, so I replaced that in the corner. That was the issue they were having with this when it first came out, that I can offhand tell you. let's see, back here. I gotta say, this is ball bearing. This was really cool. I like this. This is ball bearing, and this is rubber, man. This is like, it feels like a roller skate wheel. You know what I mean? It's not like no flimsy, cheap wheelie bar. You know what I'm saying? And what's cool about that is, if you look here, there's an adjuster, 2 or 3 in. I have it in the middle, of course, but and as well as your wing mount. This allows your wing mount to tilt and adjust. But you have 2 clicks for the setup for this, for the wheelie bar, and then the wing mount. You can tilt it however you want the car to sit with it. So that is really dope how they set that up with that. That was a plus. Let's see, let's get this off. Go ahead. So you got your 4 clips, of course, similar to how Arma does it. Inside your body, it's not too bad. It's not too, like, it's not something you have to worry about it breaking right away or something. Got your hookups for your air duct, some kind of plate that allows a little more stiffness and the rigidity in the front. Not sure about that. One weakness I will tell you with these bodies that I've saw even in videos, and I was getting ready to have issues. This part will eventually explode out, so I do eventually want to put some tape and work this over. So I will note that for you guys. This is not that strong back here. I don't know why it's like that, but like I said, a lot of reviews I've seen, same issues as always in the back part of this truck. So definitely want to stabilize it. I gotta start playing with this thing more too, because I haven't had it out in a while. So as you can see, one thing I do like that Red Cat's doing with their vehicles is they allow, a cover, a dust cover. Does that mean that it's totally 100% works? Yeah, a little bit. It's not 100%, guys. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that there's not dust that you could see when you pull this off on the vehicle. But the main focus of what this is supposed to do is to allow rocks not to fly in here. When you have snow, not to let it just drop on here and soak down into the, you can bang it off before it goes down into here. This is waterproof. Now, when I say waterproof, you can't submerge it. It's basically, if you want to call it splash. I've gotten this thing pretty wet, and so I can't really, and in the snow as well. So so far it's been holding up. Servo, I'll get into all that. Servo and electronics, I'll get into that. So your shocks on here are actually very well made. The only thing is you got your plastic caps, which is whatever. That's fine if you want to do the upgraded. I haven't done that yet. The chassis on this thing is actually impressive. It's really thick. It's not like, you know what I mean? And what I really like about this chassis, and I'm being serious, like, this is, to get to the stuff, the diffs, it's really easy. You're taking off these 2 bolts, this right here, and this plate just comes right off. Your diff is right there and it's ready to go. You pull it right out. That's one thing I really like about this vehicle that they designed and they put on here. Made it so much easier to do. The coverage on the chassis, as far as your drive axle, as you can see, that's all in here. It's covered up really well, and it's got a nice seal set up to it. The steering servo. Now, for me, I don't care for this, and a lot of guys can understand why. So where this is exposed at, even though this is covered here, I've had things come up in here and get, from sticks and stuff, get jammed. Now, one thing I wish they would have done is they would have designed the reef to go up over, from the chassis of this to protect this a little more, or some kind of, plating that they could have added, or even aftermarket, because this has gotten jammed up twice already since I've had it out, and I don't really drive this that often. And I know guys, that do drive this, will tell you, and they're hard on it, that that's one thing that gets messed with or jammed up. So that I don't really care about. Some people can say different, they're gonna say, oh no, but from what I've already been through with it, maybe it was just me, it's gotten jammed up. So that was a Debbie Downer there. What else? Drive axle's been good so far. I have no issues with that. Honestly, when you run this truck, I really don't see you having to roll 6S with this. I really don't. I can actually show you the battery I've run on it. This thing is plenty. When I say plenty, it's plenty. Because the truck is not that heavy, guys. For the guys that are out here running 6S on this thing, and I have to punch up to only, I believe, 7, and it goes to 9. And I have numerous videos with this thing, and it just throws the wheelies like it's nothing. I just can't understand how guys do that. They'll put these things to 6S it, and then they'll punch it all the way to 9, max it out, and then wonder why they're breaking stuff. Like, you go, I mean, yeah, you can go big and go home, but at the same time, that's, it's just not going to be designed to hold up to that much abuse. It doesn't matter how you handle on the wheel. So I prefer, in my opinion, a good strength. You can even go 100C on a 4S, but I recommend something like this. 4S is plenty for this truck. It's just super light. I think this truck maybe weighs 10 pounds. And I really don't know exact weight, but I say roughly that, if that. It's not even that heavy. With the wheels on, maybe 12 pounds. So I know for sure it's not as heavy as the Big Rock. So yeah, so the chassis from front to back, I did the measurements a while back ago. It's like 22, almost 20, 23 inches long from here to here, from wing to the front of this bevel. I did underneath. So it's about almost 23 inches long. Now I forgot the width. Now let me go. You know what? Matter of fact, hold on one second. Okay, guys, I'm back. So we'll do a quick measurement on the width. I'll give you an exact measurement on that. So with the width, we got exactly 13 inches wide. So I mean, it's fairly wide. It's an 8 scale. I remember when I first got this, because I haven't been doing RCs in a while, since 2004, roughly 2005. So when I got this sucker last year, got back into hobby and getting these RCs. And trust me, guys, it's, even for the guys that understand this coming out of our own pocket, it's like a tattoo. It becomes addicting. But it's to be smart. When RC Reviews just commented on that tonight, I was like, you know what? I could put something together right now. I totally understand what he's saying. What this is pertaining to is, it's not about me getting paid. It's about me understanding that people out there need to understand what these vehicles are, so that they decide and make the right pick. Am I going to keep it real with you? I give this a 7 out of 10. It's due to the other experiences I've received with these other vehicles. Now, if I would have just gotten this vehicle and drove it, I don't know how I would have rated it then, because you have to have other vehicles in a sense to get a feel of what you're looking for. The thing I don't like is this is tippy. Like I said, I believe the tiring it's based off these tires. The tires are tall. If you get an idea of how this tire sits on here, a little bit, it sits tall. You know what I mean? It doesn't have a wider stance for the width that it has. I believe this one should have been wider. They made it longer. They revamped it with the old Kuju. They extended it, and they did. What they tried to do to keep the price down and not having to make new arms, which Red Cat had that Kaiju out for such a long time that it was no big deal if they had to have these other hobby stores orders new arms on these. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, I don't think it should have been done. I think this would have had about another inch and a quarter out. It would have helped a lot more. What else could I say? Overall, the truck. Oh, and then this. Let's get to the electronics. Awesome on the motor. I really think that I'm not going to complain on the power. Is it powerful for this setup? Yeah. Honestly, guys, it is nuts. It's one thing I give it a 10 out of 10. It's got plenty of power. It's a 4068 2100 kV engine. Definitely hobby wing. Same thing with this. It's a WP8BL 150 amp ESC. Great setup, great power performance. Now, the exact servo size on this, let me make sure I get this. I think this is a 20. I want to make sure I look at this right. I want to just say it. 25. Yeah, this is a 25 tooth servo turn. It's Hexley digital servo. Not familiar with the company as much, but it's actually more than enough for this truck, man. Literally, I got to turn the dual rate down because if I'm going into turns, this thing just wants to whoop. So, oh, this is the other thing that I didn't care for that they should have added. You can get it for it. Roadside RC actually showed me this when he had gotten this a little while back. It was a Debbie Downer situation. They should have put control arms on this. And the reason I say that is because they didn't have the length on this, right? That's where that made up for. Now you can get those, and you could place them. They go from here, hook in, and they go back up and around, and then back here in the chassis. They swing through. But that should have been a come. That should have came with the vehicle. Those control arms, or those not control arms, but they're sway bar linkages. That ticked me off there when they did that. You know, it was like literally a month or two after this car came out, maybe 3 months later, they said they were available. So that's what that was missing. If you're not going to put this, the width on it, keep the money, down. Like I said, I get that the guys are going to say, hey, let's buy for the hobbyists to have to go out and hobby stores not having them because now they have to get them on the shelf. But it's not about that. We're when you're redesigning the vehicle itself, you're doing it from the ground up. It doesn't matter if they're not available and it's a new product. That's what makes it awesome. I disagree when people say, "Oh yeah, well I know why they did it. It cuts back and it makes it easier for the hobby stores. They don't have to reorder." Well, all right, but then what is the point of redesigning something if you don't go from the ground up? I'm not, you know what I mean? That you're trying to design it to perfect whatever that truck wasn't able to do in the past. You're listening to the people. So one thing they didn't do either with electronics that I disagree with, and this was just recently they started changing it, and they're back and forth with this, and I don't get this. This is, this right here, this crap. I had to get this for that truck, but this T connector. And everybody knows what this does. It reduces power, and it also, these actually, they become dangerous a lot of times. They get really hot where they can catch fire. But the most important thing about these is that you're losing the power. You know what I mean? It's cutting out. I have this set to where the cutout on the voltage, and it still has its days where it'll do that because of that T connector. It's one thing you put this on a 2S vehicle, but when you're up in 6S or 8S or whatever, nah, just no. That's one thing I gotta say, Red Cat. Just get rid of this. Unless you're doing this on one of your little, brushed motors or something of that nature in a starter. That's one thing. But when you got a beautiful car that you're trying to design and your platform, that's no good. You know what I mean? Now, one thing I will say they did, and I'll talk more about that in the next review, is the machete. They nailed it. They put them XT90s in there. That's what this should have had, XT90. And what I like about the XT90, a lot of people don't know, is you can run an IC5 and an EC5 in those plugs. And it doesn't connect great. No, you have to kind of like maybe... I use electrical tape sometimes to hold it so it doesn't slide out when you know what I mean, when you're driving. But it works, and that's what's cool about that. A lot of guys don't have to go out and buy all these different kind of batteries. They're not trying to, play the system where you just have to buy their batteries. So I appreciate that with that. So yeah, great power system. It does have a metal pin that comes in this gear. I do believe the old model didn't, and you had to upgrade that. That was cool. What else can I think of here? Fan's been doing good so far, having no issues with that. They added, that's an add-on from the old Kuju. You get the extension, get this, the wing, and a different body style. Other than that, they didn't really do anything different. Like I said, they should have did something different with the control arms. So, like I said, I rate this 7 out of 10. Now, I do believe Red Cat is gonna knock this one out the park the next one. I really do. They have been listening. They have been nailing things, especially in the in the cruiser setup with the 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 old school cars and all the hydraulic systems they've been doing with their electronics. They've been nailing it there. I'm excited to see what they do with the new revamp on their 6S lineups. As far as with the machete, that wasn't too bad. They covered their rear end on that. They did what they needed to, knock that out of the park. That's why I bought one. A lot of guys ran from that one. But I can tell you right now, that is an awesome truck. But yeah, this is the Kaiju EXT. I just want to do a shout out to RC Reviews. Appreciate the layout. To be honest with you, this is for us as an RC community. We're doing this this is a family thing. You don't have to know each other in person to understand that the fun that this is, the good info, the good rundown of what the vehicle is. I'll give you another one that gives good information. You got RC Guy Garage. You got Earl Moorhead. You got quite a few other guys. They lay it out. They don't just do it because maybe they're getting sponsored. And even when you are being sponsored, keep it real, man. Keep it real. Please keep it real. If you're not paying for the vehicles, just to help us, that are paying out of our pockets or just enjoying getting into the hobby. So thank you guys. Thank you for the rundown. I promise you I will start letting you guys know the pros and cons of these vehicles, to my opinion. Everyone's going to have their own, but I'm going to give you my best and honest opinion. And this is how I view this, man. Like I said, a 7 out of 10 with this truck. There are things that Red Cat can do to this thing to revamp it, and should. But that's all I have to say. You guys have a blessed one. Sleek Hobbies 88 signing out. You guys have a blessed one. Take care. Thank you.